This podcast is a work of historical interpretation. While we strive for accuracy, some aspects of history are open to interpretation and debate. Thank you for listening. Today we're diving into the incredible and inspiring story of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yay, as made famous by the George Lucas movie Red Tails?
Which I do mention later, only per you.
Just because you didn't even know about it.
Definitely did not.
That's like one of his only non-Star Wars movies.
Right? Isn't that, and that was after he gave up Star Wars,
yeah,
right?
That's like the only thing he's done since then.
That's what makes sense. It was 2012, so.
I wish he would do a sequel to Howard the Duck. Or to THX 1138.
These brave men not only fought the Axis power in World War II, but also battled racism and discrimination both at home and abroad. Their courage and skill paved the way for desegregation in the U.S. military and left an indelible mark on American history. Today we'll explore their story, the challenges they faced, their triumphs, and the political events that shaped their journey. And this will be us continuing on with our Black History Month for February.
Yay.
Yes, last week we did the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which was not Black history, but also an important or interesting story in American history. And the week before that, of course, we did the 6888 Troop. So now it is the Tuskegee Airman time. The Tuskegee Airmen were the first Black military aviators in the United States Army Air Corps, a precursor to the Air Force. Their story begins in the late 1930s and the early 1940s, where racial segregation was still deeply entrenched in American society. The U.S. military, much of the country, was also segregated, and there was widespread doubt about whether Black men could even serve as pilots. One powerful quote comes from Eleanor Roosevelt, actually, during a flight she took with Charles Alfred Anderson Sr., who was known as the father of Black aviation, and was also a key figure in proving that Black men, could fly airplanes before World War II. After a flight in 1941 at the Tuskegee Institute, she famously remarked, "Well, you can fly all right." I love Eleanor Roosevelt. She was great.
I have my buddy named Eleanor.
I know you do.
That we spoke of 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
This moment was pivotal because it directly challenged the widespread belief that Black men lacked the skill or intelligence to be pilots. Roosevelt's endorsement helped garner support for the Tuskegee Airmen program, leading to the training of Black military aviators during World War II. Also, Bessie Coleman, the first Black woman to earn her pilot's license in 1921, once said, "The air is the only place free from prejudices." And we just did a little mini lesson on Bessie Coleman in class not too long ago.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And does that also mean that there's going to be a full episode at some point?
Maybe.
Maybe in Women's History Month?
Maybe.
I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but let me flip to that page of the calendar.
I have not written anything in March on that calendar. Despite the widespread doubt, civil rights organizations and Black leaders, like the NAACP and A. Philip Randolph, pressured the government to allow African Americans to train as pilots. Eventually, the War Department created a segregated training program at Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama, formally launching it in 1941. This program would produce some of World War II's most skilled and disciplined pilots. Over 14,000 personnel, including pilots, navigators, mechanics, and support staff, were involved in the Tuskegee experience. Training at the Tuskegee Army Airfield was rigorous and designed to mirror the training received by white pilots, as it should be.
Yeah, it should be the same.
At the same place together.
Yeah.
It was divided into several phases. Pre-flight training, known as ground school, Before even touching a plane, trainees underwent 9 to 10 weeks of pre-flight education. Makes sense. A little book work before getting your hands,
Can't
on
you
the...
just fire up Flight Simulator and there you go?
This is 1941.
Well, they had flight simulators.
I don't think so. I mean, not...
They didn't have the game.
Right. Well, yeah, I knew that.
They had the mock-up cockpits and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Subjects included aerodynamics, navigation, meteorology, radio communication, and physics. I wanted to be a meteorologist when I was younger. I don't know why. I was slightly obsessed with weather for some time period.
Paid to
be wrong?
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, wait, you already are.
That's not nice.
The truth hurts.
I mean, I had to teach some people today on Facebook what impeachment meant, because that's not commonly understood, but I digress.
Is that, did you have to explain tariffs today?
No, not today.
Oh, wow.
Not today. Today was a tariff-free day, explanation-wise. Trainees were also given extensive military discipline and leadership training. Awesome.
Yay.
Their primary flight training was conducted at Moton Field, which was Tuskegee Institute's civilian airfield. Probably had something to do with, segregation. Trainees learned the basics of flying using a Spearman PT-17, which was a biplane, or the Fairchild PT-19 aircraft. Instructors included notable black aviators such as Charles Chief Anderson, who famously flew First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt in 1941. Those who passed primary training moved on to Tuskegee Army Airfield for advanced instruction. This all makes total sense. Basic flight training was conducted using a BT-13 faulty Valiance, and I do not know enough about aviation history to know exactly what those might look like. Sorry. Advanced training included gunnery, formation flying, instrument training, and combat maneuvers. All very important things to know. And I'm not being sarcastic when I'm saying these things. These are all good things.
Formation flying really isn't.
It is, because a lot of their activity in the war later on was escorting bombers. So, yeah, it kind of was a thing. Plus, you have to know where your fellow pilots are so you don't accidentally, crash into them. That would be bad, as
we know.
Have seen recently, unfortunately.
But I was thinking of the fancy formations, like, the Blue Angels or the
I don't think that's what they were doing. I think
they were being practical.
Yes, practical, like military and wartime.
Oh, so $10 million an hour for who knows what? What? I'm referring to excessive military spending.
Oh, okay, which wasn't necessarily a thing at this point in time, because we had World War I, we basically had no military and had to build up quickly. But it definitely had to rebuild also for World War II.
Yeah, so this was pre-$500 screwdrivers?
Oh my gosh.
$2,000 toilets? $10 million?
That reminds me of a scene from The West Wing. Is that The West Wing? Yeah. Was it The West Wing where he smashes the ashtray because maybe it wasn't The West Wing. Somebody's like, why do you need a $2,000 ashtray in a submarine where you can't even smoke? Or I don't remember. It's because it was shatterproof. And anyways.
Nothing shatterproof.
Yeah, that was Christian Slater. I remember the actor doing that, but I can't remember if that
Christian Slater wasn't in that. That would have
been... That's why I'm thinking, what show was it? It must not have been The West Wing, but what would it have been?
Did he even do any TV shows? I mean, I've just known him as in movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm not insane.
Well,
thank you. The West Wing, 2002. He was in 3 episodes because he was flirting with the blonde that ends up with... Well, it doesn't matter. Anyways. But yeah, I am remembering correctly. Why do I remember this? But anyways.
Because you were watching a show with a real president.
I love The West Wing. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, okay.
Can we get back on topic?
Yes, we can get back on
Some of us have to go play a show today.
This is what happens when you wake me up at 4:45 in the morning.
I did not wake you up at 4:45 in the morning. This time.
Yes. Okay, so after they completed the advanced training, pilots progressed to flying North American T-6 Texans before moving to actual combat aircraft. So just the step-up method of training, which makes complete sense. Pilots who completed the program then transitioned to training in a Curtiss P-40 Warhawks or Bell P-39 Airacobras or Republic P-47 Thunderbolts, and eventually the North American P-51 Mustang. Some pilots were also sent to additional training bases before then being deployed overseas. The first class of pilots, Class 42C, graduated on March 7th, 1942. This class included Captain Benjamin O. Davis, Jr., who would later become the commander of the Tuskegee Airmen. By the war's end, almost 1,000 pilots and over 14,000 support personnel, those being the mechanics, navigators, bombardiers, and medical staff, had been trained at Tuskegee. So there was, obviously, as we mentioned, segregation at the Freeman Army Airfield. In March 1945, over 400 black officers from the 477th Bombardment Group, including many Tuskegee Airmen, were transferred to Freeman Field in Seymour, Indiana. These military bases were still primarily segregated at the time, including Officers' Club, where personnel socialized and conducted business. Even though this was Indiana, we usually think of segregation in the South, but this was the military. Upon arrival, black officers discovered that Colonel Robert Selway, the base commander, had instituted a discriminatory policy which stated only supervisory and instructional personnel could access the White Officers Club. This classification conveniently ensured that all white officers were included, while all black officers were excluded. Instead, black officers were assigned to a separate inferior club in clear violation of military regulations that prohibited racial discrimination in facilities. So I guess they could train separately, but when it came to officer, I'm not entirely sure what this means.
Yeah, it was confusing.
Yeah. Especially given that this was Indiana, which is not considered part of the traditional South, than when where the Jim Crow laws and segregation was prominent. However, unwilling to accept these unjust policy, the Tuskegee Airmen organized a peaceful protest to challenge segregation at the Freeman Field. So starting on April 5th, 1945, a group of 19 black officers attempted to enter the whites-only club, but were immediately arrested. Over the next 2 days, more than 60 additional black officers followed suit, peacefully protesting by attempting to enter the club and demanding equal treatment. Eventually, a total of 101 officers were arrested and charged with insubordination, marking this the largest mass arrest of black officers in U.S. military history. Remember, this is 1945. So before what we think of as the Civil Rights Movement.
It was still wrong.
It was, yes. Despite facing severe repercussions, the officers remained resolute against this discrimination. The mass arrests at Freeman Field quickly gained national attention, drawing criticism from civil rights activists and sympathetic military personnel. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, the bad PR during wartime, General Henry Hap Arnold, the U.S. Army Air Force's commander, reviewed the incident and deemed the arrest unjustified.
Shocker.
What? Are you being sarcastic, or because he deemed them that they shouldn't have been arrested?
Yeah, that's kind of a shocker that would have actually occurred at that point in time.
Gotcha. that it even need to be deemed unjustified.
Yep.
By April 26, 1945, most officers were released without charges. However, 3 officers, including Lieutenant Roger C. Terry, were court-martialed. Lieutenant Roger C. Terry was convicted of joustling a superior officer and dishonorably discharged for it. The other 2 officers had their cases dismissed. Colonel Robert Selway, who, again, remember, was the commander that set up this policy in the first place, was removed from command, signaling a victory for the Tuskegee Airmen. So this is one of those rare examples where, like, something actually happened quickly, relatively quickly, and correctly. Like, the higher-ups, like, came in and said, no, this is not what we're doing. The Freeman Field Mutiny, as it became known, became a turning point in the fight against segregation in the military. This protest directly influenced President Harry S. Truman's Executive Order 9981, which was written after the war, in 1948, and officially desegregated the U.S. Armed Forces.
Why did that take an executive order? That never should have even happened.
But it's also good that it happened. But yeah. This event also set the stage for future civil rights activism. You know, that happened during the 60s. In 1995, the U.S. Air Force officially removed Lieutenant Roger C. Terry's court-martial conviction. 95. Acknowledging the injustice he and his fellow officers had suffered, the Freeman Field Mutiny is now regarded as one of the earliest acts of organized civil disobedience in the modern civil rights movement. Which is why I wanted to include it, too, because it's not only, like, not necessarily what the Tuskegee Airmen are most known for.
Yeah.
But they were definitely a part of this. It definitely helped down the road for other civil rights activism. And it's interesting to me that it was the military.
Yeah. Before they just started sending people to Vietnam.
Yes, this is pre-Vietnam, for sure. Pre-Korea.
Well, at least they
like
didn't
even the
force people to
executive
go to
order.
Korea. What?
I was just trying to think.
No, they didn't draft people for
Yeah,
Korea.
I was just trying to think how that... we weren't in Korea for a super long time, were we?
No, we were just there to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the Tuskegee Airmen. After they deployed, there were challenges. They were deployed to North Africa, Italy, and other European theaters. They did distinguish themselves in battle. They became famous for their skill as escort pilots. That was, they would protect bombers from enemy fighters. Their squadron became known as Red Tails because of the distinctive red paint on their aircraft. And they had one of the lowest loss records for any escort group in the war. Despite this, they still faced discrimination from white officers and airmen. Many bomber crews initially refused their escort, believing the racist notion that black pilots were inferior. But as the Tuskegee Airmen continued to excel, attitudes began to change. Reports from bomber crews described their effectiveness in combat, with some even requesting red tail escorts over the white fighter squadrons. Because you want the best, because you don't want to die. Makes sense to me.
But, so they're saying that they were good?
Yes, they were saying that.
But while being racist, but they were saying they were good.
I think their skill level overcame any racist ideas they had.
At that point in time.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
When they were on the ground.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
A perspective offered by Lieutenant Colonel Leo R. Gray emphasized the discipline approach of the Tuskegee Airmen, and this is what he said. We flew with the bombers to the target, then just before they would drop the bombs, we broke away. Once the bombers have released all their bombs, we would escort them back to the base.
You mean what they should do?
Yes, but these are just first-hand accounts of what happened.
First-hand account of, we did our job.
Which is a requirement. In total, the Tuskegee Airmen flew more than 15,000 trips during the war, destroying over 260 enemy aircraft themselves, including the highly feared German Me-262 jet fighters. They also destroyed ground targets, including enemy supply lines, railroads, and airfields. I'm not sure if this means like they were with the bombers that did this, or if they did it themselves. I'm not entirely sure.
Themselves.
Or a combination.
Yeah.
Maybe a combination. Because I think their primary job was to escort the bombers and protect them. But in protecting them, they would have taken down some other aircraft for sure. Their impressive record further showed evidence of the effectiveness of the Tuskegee Airmen's escort missions. Just between June 1944 and the war's end, they flew 311 missions, 179 of which were bomber escorts. On one occasion, they shot down, 13 German fighters. So not every single mission was an escort, it's just a lot of them were. Despite often being outnumbered, their commitment to their mission was unwavering. Their incredible record of success earned them over 150 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 8 Purple Hearts, and numerous other commendations. It's a lot for like one squadron. As mentioned before, one of the most famous Tuskegee Airmen was Benjamin O. Davis, Jr. Davis, who came from a military family, his father was the first Black general of the U.S. Army. Davis also graduated from West Point in 1936. Despite being ostracized for his race by his classmates, he persevered and became the commander of the 99th Fighting Squadron and later the 332nd Fighter Group. Under his leadership, the Red Tails earned a reputation for excellence in combat. He continued serving in the newly created U.S. Air Force after the war, leading efforts towards military integration. He retired in 1969 with the rank of Lieutenant General, a 3-star general. In 1998, President Bill Clinton awarded him the honorary rank of 4-star general in recognition for his service. Another incredible airman was Charles McGee. He joined the U.S. Army Air Corps in 1942. He flew a staggering 409 combat missions across 3 wars, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Staggering is the correct word for that.
So he was there for 30 years.
He was.
Yes.
McGee's skill as a pilot were undeniable, and he later became an advocate for increased diversity in aviation. His career exemplified the perseverance and dedication of the Tuskegee Airmen. He retired in 1973, 31 years, with the rank of colonel. In 2020, at 100 years old, McGee was promoted to brigadier general and honored by President Donald Trump during the State of the Union address that year. The political landscape during this time was shifting as well. The success of the Tuskegee Airmen played a significant role in pushing for civil rights and military desegregation. Their achievements proved that Black servicemen were just as capable as their white counterparts. In 1948, as mentioned earlier, President Harry Truman signed that Executive Order 9981, desegregating the U.S. Armed Forces. It declared that, quote, there shall be equality of treatment and opportunity for all persons in the armed services without regard to race, color, religion, or national origin, unquote. It also established the President's President's Committee on Equality of Treatment and Opportunity in the Armed Services to oversee implementation. And I did look to see how long this was a thing. It was a temporary body tasked with the overseeing of the desegregation of the U.S. military. It played a crucial role in enforcing the order and ensuring the gradual integration of all branches of the armed forces. By the mid-1950s, the military had desegregated primarily, leading to the committee's dissolution because it wasn't needed anymore. Yay!
Yeah. Did they come back yet?
Its responsibilities were transferred to permanent agencies such as the Department of Defense's Equal Opportunity Programs, which continue to oversee diversity and inclusion efforts in the military today. As of February 6, 2025. It still exists, and that is still a program. So let's talk about some media stuff, right? One notable resource regarding the Tuskegee Airmen is the 1945 film Wings for This Man, produced by the First Motion Picture Unit, and this is why I included it, narrated by none other than Ronald Reagan before he was president. Because, in case you don't know, Ronald Reagan was an actor. Dan's like, I knew that. But not everybody else knew that. Okay. This film celebrates the training, skill, bravery, and contributions of the Tuskegee Airmen, offering a first-hand look at their journey from training to combat. Because remember, this is 1945. Because that was actually Reagan's job during World War II, he was an actor.
Yeah.
They didn't send him overseas to fight. Like, they kept him home.
Yeah, it's not like he was JFK who they made go fight.
In all fairness, JFK, faked not being sick so he could go. Like, he used his connections to go.
As opposed to using connections to stay home?
He could have. He was not well. He definitely could have gotten out of military duty.
That's not where I was going with that.
Just saying. I know, but I'm saying... To all fairness to JFK.
Yeah, I know.
He definitely could have gotten out of World War II.
Yeah, PT-109.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Red tails, which is what Dan already talked about, unless he cancels all his talking from this episode. I mean, edit. Okay. Red tails...
You're the one that's canceled.
Probably. Red Tails was produced by George Lucas in 2012. Yes, that George Lucas. It is a historical war drama that depicts the heroic story of the Tuskegee Airmen, led by Major Emmanuel Stantz, who is played by Cuba Gooding Jr., and Colonel A.J. Bullard, who is played by Terrence Howard. The 332nd Fighter Group overcomes racism and doubt to prove their skill in combat, earning the nickname Red Tails for their aircraft markings. Yes, I got that summary offline because I have not seen the movie. Don't yell at me.
Why haven't you seen the movie?
I don't know, because I had a 2-year-old at the time and a 6-year-old.
Don't you have Disney Plus?
Is it on there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll have to look it up. And then there is Heart's War from 2002 by MGM. This is a World War II drama starring Bruce Willis and, again, Terrence Howard. This has a subplot about a Tuskegee Airman imprisoned in a German POW camp. You are allowed to talk. They don't want to just hear me talk. Okay.
Who'd want to hear me talk?
There is the documentary For Love of Liberty, the story of America's Black Patriots, which was produced in 2010. The narrator for that is Halle Berry. And it features interviews with historians and veterans. This documentary covers a wide range of African-American contributions to the military, including the Tuskegee Airmen. And for any of our comic fans out there, Captain America, the First Avenger, 2011, Marvel Studios. While not directly about the Tuskegee Airmen, the character Isaiah Bradley, introduced later in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, was inspired by real-life black soldiers subjected to military discrimination and secret experiments similar to the airmen's struggle. So, an homage, one might say, to. No? Okay. Sony Pictures released Devotion in 2022, which focused on Jesse Brown, the first Black naval aviator, and it echoes the Tuskegee Airmen story of breaking barriers in military aviation. So that's some of the media I could find.
Did Sabaton do a song on that?
I have no idea. You're the music guy.
Yeah, but I mean, Sabaton does songs on everything war related, so I wonder if they did one.
Would you like me to look it up?
Although I don't know if... No, they've made it to World War II, I think. Maybe?
You would know better than me. I have no clue. I couldn't even begin to guess.
Well, every song of theirs is about war.
No, I understand that. I'm saying if they made it up to World War II or not.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Let
Let us know if you know, listener, by commenting or sending us an email.
Make sure you're one of our listeners from Russia. That will let us know that answer.
That's all that I've got for today's episode of Time Tellers. Thank you for joining me and Dan as we explored the remarkable story of the Tuskegee Airmen. I don't feel like I did it justice, but I tried.
You gave an overview.
I mean,
it was better than Spark Notes.
Thank you for that. I strive to be better than Spark Notes.
Does that even still exist?
I don't know. I'm sure it's online somewhere. Like, there's probably a Sparks Notes website.
It was always a website. Cliff Notes were the...
Oh, really? Am I confusing?
Cliff Notes
like
were
the
ones
yellow
that you
and
could go...
black?
Yeah, those are Cliff Notes.
Oh, okay.
Spark Notes was the website.
Oh, okay. My bad. Then, yeah, I'm sure it still exists. The internet is forever, right?
Really?
I don't know.
I better go see if stuff's deleted then.
If you enjoyed this episode or want to hear more about any specific subject, let us know. We need ideas, please help. No, I'm just kidding. Don't forget to follow us on whatever platform you listen to podcast. We have our Facebook, we have our Instagram, we have the Blue Sky, we have apparently Patreon. And what else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. But
did you say Patreon?
Yes.
Did you say Patreon again?
No, but Patreon.
I wish people would join that.
The website is timetellershistory.com, where you can get all the episodes straight from there.
And if we might put some stuff for sale on there too. You never know. The Time Tellers calendars.
Not this one. It has personal medical information.
Just talking about your peach images.
That sounds so wrong.
Okay, you're 34th.
Okay. As always,
it's not my fault it was right in front of me. I couldn't help but see it.
As always, stay curious and inspired, and remember to explore history. Until next time, I'm Renee. That is Dan. You want to say goodbye, Dan?
No.
He says no. And this is Time Tellers. Thank you. And bye. Hanging up now.
Why?
Where's the power button?
All the way over here?
Darn nabbit. It's too far away. I'm too short.
We know, T-Rex. Don't ever do that again.
And my T-Rex arms. You're the one who called me T-Rex.
Yeah, you're
How do I play
ancient and a fossil.
violin with T-Rex arms?
You're ancient and a fossil.
What? Oh, I'm going to go play with the band, and you're going to go run away and do something else.
And go play a show.
Yes. So, fine. Bye.
But I don't have to leave yet. I still got 1 minute.
Darn it.
Yeah. And really, I don't have to be there till who knows when.
There's a call time. And what time is that call time? Don't make me ask.
Whenever I
can ask
show
somebody
up.
else.
I don't care.
Right. I know. You could really show up at like 7:25 and probably be fine.
Well, I'd want to park,
Oh, that's true. And you are on stage now, so you're right. You should show up there, before the house opens.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because we use the house curtain.
True.
And you don't see me anyway.
Fair. Okay, well, it's 5:00 now, so goodbye.
Yeah, and nobody else is here.
See you next week, Dan. Bye. Mm-hmm.
I have to wait till next week?
To come back, yes.
Aw.
Because band practice is Wednesday and Thursdays after we record the podcast.
And then Wednesday we'll record more.
Yes, if I write more.
I was referring to the band.
The band. Oh, yes. I had 2 songs down, right?
Yeah, well.
Pretty much done. At least our end, not necessarily your end.
Yeah, you're going to have to redo a bunch of yours.
I am not. I was perfect.
Wait till you
Once I tuned myself.
Yeah. You're only a quarter step off.
Okay.
Just wait till you hear what I did on one of the songs.
Oh, dear.
It has lots of keyboard.
I'm scared. We don't have a keyboard player in the band, Dan. Okay. Everyone, have a good day. It is now 5:01. Bye.
Yay.